Shalom. First thing and foremost, I'm going to give all praises and glory and honor as due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Couple honors to the prophets and elders of great millstone that rule well. Frequent blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect. Those in his gospel, brother, lifting up the standard of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, wherever it may be. This is another lesson through the Spirit. Lord's will be edifying. Titled, it says, Alert, Stock Market Crash of All Crashes. This is from the Popular Report. I subscribe to him. And, I mean, he goes in, he brings out some relevant information. But, you know, as usual, you got a lot of these guys that report on the economy. And, you know, they go on, geopolitics, and they bring out these reports, man. And a lot of times, it's a hit or miss with some of these things. But, he seems like he's onto something because he made a mention of Warren Buffett stepping down yesterday. And that's the spirit, because I was actually watching the CNN Money, or what was it, CNN? I was watching it yesterday morning, and it mentioned that Warren Buffett is retiring. But I'm back in my mind, I'm like, I thought this motherfucker been retired. Like, this dude is worth like 500 billion or some shit like that, or a couple of billion. But yet, he still had a heavy presence in the stock market, because you got to understand these elites, these lower level luminaries, which Warren Buffett, he's part of the elite structure, but he's lower level. He's like on a liking of Gates and Musk and stuff like that. He's not really that rich when you compare him to the elites, but his name do ring bells when it comes in the investing community, right? You always hear about him in rap songs, like your Robert Finks and your Warren Buffetts, men like that, your Larry Finks, stuff like, not Robert, Larry, but anyway, he's going to go in and he's going to basically go into how the markets are getting ready to crash. And if you pay attention, with the ports and the ships and the trucking industry, things are really coming to a halt. And they were mentioning in about 5 to 7 weeks' time, we're going to start seeing shortages unless they come to some type of agreement. But looks like that China is not going to back down to America, nor Japan. Because I was looking at a video as well, Japan speaking on the negotiation deals on how they're not going to be, what's a good word, extorted by the West. Because everybody knows that the West is nothing more but a war machine, and they extort people for their resources. Okay, this is why Americans are poor. This is why you have no wealth, no generational wealth. Because the war machine, America, they rather invest their money into war, military equipment, stealing lands, and displacing people before they put it into their own infrastructure, which proves that this is Esau Edom. All right, so anyway, without further delay, I'm going to play a couple of minutes of this video, and we're going to get a couple of precepts, but shit's finna go down, man. We can very well see a collapse before the end of this summer. Lord's will. Just have to wait and see, but here we go.
Friends, we
And fair use, by the way. I make no money from this video. Fair use.
have a lot of stock market warning signals flashing right now, and hopefully you are aware of what's going on in the stock market. And even if you're not in stocks and investments, be aware that this is going to impact your employers. This is going to impact the businesses. This is going to impact your banks. This is going to impact everybody. We are on the verge of a potential stock market crash, a financial collapse like 2008 was going to happen. It seems all but inevitable that we're moving that direction again. So I want to get you these warnings. Normally we do an update video first thing in the morning. That will come this afternoon because I need to get this out to you. I don't know what's going to happen today, but we're on the verge of potentially big things. So I really hope that you guys are out there protecting yourselves. We're going to talk about Warren Buffett deciding that this is the perfect time to get out of the stock market, to just quit and walk away. We got a great.
This year, the average tax refund was $3,177. If you invested that $3,000
depression setting up inside the United States. Remember,
and that's funny because how Warren Buffett, he just walk away. He knows something, because he's an insider. He sold all his stocks. He dumped a lot of Apple stocks. They know something is coming. Going back into 2020, one of the biggest wealth transfer in history when it came to the Ovid or the C Nueve Once, however you want to pronounce it. I think that's how you say it. In fact, let me double check that. You know, I like to be thorough with things. Anyway, let me double check. 9 in Spanish. Yep. Okay. Okay, so I was saying that wrong. 19. Yeah, because anything 10 is DSA and then 9 is 9. What the hell I get? Oh, I'm thinking about 9/11. I'm tripping. 9/11 is okay. Yep, I totally butchered it, but whatever. Y'all get the point. Anyway, but Warren Buffett, he took his money out the stock market, or he's so-called retired, which a lot of these major investors are walking away now because they understand that they've gotten their money. Okay, this man is probably damn near almost probably a $500 billion. I mean, he's already a billionaire. So let's see how much this clown is worth. Warren Buffett net worth. So how much this devil is worth. $168 billion. Okay. How did he get that money? Because he was smart? Because he just was just so wise? No, man. He's set up. Okay, he's set up. He plays a big part of the global or world order. You know what I'm saying? He's not like just like some type of major mogul and teach you how to invest. This man come from a family of elites, and they've set him up in this position. You know, he ain't the creme de la creme of riches, you know. Like all these people, these are small hats. You got Bernard Arnault, Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, Elon Musk. This guy here, Bernard Arnault, net worth. All Edomites. You think this man got the money by being just so just and nice? Fuck no, this dude had how many children he done probably sacrificed? Like the scriptures go into riches gotten by deceit and through fraud. It's all fraudulent at the end of the day. But anyway, let's get a precept real quick. It's the book of Luke 10, and I'm going to start at verses 18. And it says here, and he said unto them, I beheld Satan as lightning fall from heaven. And when you look at lightning, it's swift. It's like 1 minute is this, it's like a blink of an eye, bam, it's here and it's not. It says, I saw Satan fall from heaven. So that's how quick this man is falling. You know, this is why that they're going batshit crazy. This is why Esau was losing his tension. I mean, he's losing his mind. He's pretty contentious at this time. Racial tensions are building up because he know that he have a short time. All right, but it says, and he said it to them, I beheld Satan as lightning fall from heaven. And it's not talking about the Most High kicking him out of the spiritual world. Okay, this is not what that's talking about, because in the Christian church, they'll tell you that, oh, well, you know, there was a war in heaven, and the angel, Satan and his angels, a third of them rebelled against the Most High, and that was a big civil war in the heavenly realm, right? Which is nonsense, because you think the Lord is going to allow somebody that he created to overthrow him? No, man, that's not what it's talking about. It's talking about these elites. But it says, behold, I give unto you power to tread on serpents and scorpions, and over all the power of the enemy, and nothing shall by any means hurt you. Notwithstanding in this rejoice not that the spirits are subjected unto you, but rather rejoice because your names are written in heaven. All right. So we coming into that time, brothers. Things are happening in an accelerated pace. The U.S. dollar, they're pulling the plug on this economy. You know, that talking about the housing market going boom. It's not looking too good for the average person. So like I said, you know, it's a wait and see thing. But eventually, one day we're going to wake up and the banks are not going to be operable. The ATMs, you know, the money transfer is going to be dead. It's going to be chaos in the streets. These are the times that we're coming into while you jakes out here playing games, playing in your asshole, man. These ordeals is getting ready to hit the streets of America and around the world, because this is what they call the Great Reset. They want to get everything over on this digital vibration, and this is what it's all about. In 2025 can be the start of that.
In 1929, the stock market crash, Well, that set up the Great Depression, and we could be seeing something very similar happening right now. I'm going to talk about how overvalued the stock market is and give you some actual numbers so you can kind of see how out of whack things are. We're going to talk about the warning signal of the transportation index out there, and we're going to talk about market concentration. We're going to talk about we're just going to break down everything out there so you can kind of see what could happen next and what I'm really concerned about right now. All right, friends, let's get into it. Welcome to the Poplar Report. I'm Steve Poplar. I'm an accountant by trade, and these are things the mainstream media just won't cover. All right, 1929, stock market crashed hard, and in many ways it damaged the banking system, the financial system enough, and combined with other factors, led us into the Great Depression. Now, we're already kind of in the Great Recession, arguably in a depression right now. I think that we really, truly are, as the United States of America and other Western countries. It's just the people, the bean counters that are counting things have been fudging the numbers for so long that it doesn't quite seem as clear. But when you look at the quality of living, it's not really hard to see that Americans' quality of living is less than what it was 10 years ago, what it was 20 years ago. Can I get an amen out there? Raise your hand if you know that that's true. Now, you're being told by the mainstream media, no, things are better than ever, and our woke policies have just succeeded like nobody's business, and everybody is better off except for minorities, and minorities are actually worse off, and so therefore they need more free money and stuff. That's what they want us to believe. That and the planet is on fire or something. All right, so Warren Buffett is retiring. He has announced his retirement, and he's a guy that just would not ever retire. So some people are kind of asking the question, why now? Why is he getting out right now, especially since Berkshire Hathaway, his investment company, has more cash on hand than ever before? They are sitting on this mountain of cash. They're not investing it into stocks. And why are they doing that? Well, one of the reasons is the CAPE ratio.
This is Kraken, the easy way to start exploring crypto.
See, and they keep showing you shit like that. That's programming you to want to get these crypto apps, man, because they finna crash this dollar. I'm trying to tell you. Sirach 10, and I'm gonna start at verses 8. It says, because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. How was this system formed? Through rape, rob, and murder. What was the first concept of the stock market? Selling Negro slaves on Wall Street. The whole bidding process. Unrighteous dealings, injuries, riches got by deceit. The stock market is fraudulent. Okay, the Federal Reserve, that's all fraudulent. You know what I'm saying? That's a privately owned institution by the small hats. Same thing with the IRS, your TSAs, your Title 4D child. All that shit is all fraudulent. It's all fraudulent, man. And they've gotten rich off that. And they've becoming proud. And it says, why is earth and ash is proud? It says, there's not more of a wicked thing than a covetous man. And Esau is very covetous. That's why going into this devil here, Bernard Arnault. Look at this guy, man. He ain't never worked a hard day in his life. And you got this demon here, Warren Buffett, which he's the devil, man, all right? Any Jake that really believe that this man has gotten money for being just exceptionally wise with the stock market is a damn fool. Okay, this man ain't been no more wiser than a fucking, I don't even got a comeback for it, but yeah, these are not righteous men at all. All right, these men have raped, robbed, and murdered and pillaged the earth, and they're the reason why your lives are healthy. They're the reason why you're spending all your money on rent and a carton of eggs. Here you pay $1,800 a month to live in a studio, and you're paying $30 for a carton of eggs, and they're talking about eggs increasing another 40% by the end of the year. So you make it make sense. But it says here, for such one setteth his own soul to sell, because while he liveth, he cast away his bowels, man, all right? So yeah, this injurious dealings, man. These men are not righteous. That's why we're getting ready to see the biggest collapse in our lifetime. And guess what? It won't bounce back. Okay, the only way is gonna it won't even bounce back, but the only way they're gonna give you people false hope is when they institute that chip. Okay, that's gonna be your quote unquote bounce back when shit hits the fan and they give you the solution. But they're gonna let you people eliminate each other for a good while before they come with that solution. Okay, because they need to purge out all the undesirables. And in the meantime, Esau can use his military or his Gestapo troops to round up anybody that's against the New World Order. So at the time of the crash and the grid goes out and all hell is breaking loose in the streets of Babylon and around the world, Esau would deploy his military or his black ops to go around searching people out that don't believe in his New World Order. And a lot of people are going to come up missing. And you better believe that the prophets are going to be the main target for extermination, man. All right, because we pose the biggest threat to his New World Order because we're breaking it down in the scriptures. We're coming to him and we're destroying his lies with the truth. You know? 2nd Ezra 16, and I'm going to start at verses 35. It says, hear now these things and understand them, ye servants of the Lord. Behold the word of the Lord, receive it, believe not the gods of whom the Lord spake. But behold, the plagues draw nigh and are not slack. As when a woman with child in the 9th month bringeth forth her son, with 2 or 3 hours of our birth, great 3 hours of our birth, great pains compares our womb. Which pains when a child cometh forth, they slack not a moment. Okay, so this thing is on a time crunch, man. They give you the example of contractions, and when you know the baby is getting ready to come forth, then the contractions are few in between. Then they become more frequent. And it says here, they slack not a moment. Even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn, and sorrow shall come upon it on every side. Because once the dollar collapses, the global economy collapses. And this is why everybody is getting over to BRICS. This is why they're talking about putting money into different forms of currency, because they don't want to have to take the backlash, or they don't want to have to take the hit for when a US dollar falls, because all the nations, and for the most part, were at a point in time did business in USD, US dollars, man. But since that's getting weaker and phasing out, nations, they want a soft landing, so to speak, and this is why you have BRICS. Okay?
APE, which stands for cyclically adjusted price to earnings. So the idea of the price that you're paying for the stock versus the amount of earnings that stock is generating, right? That usually, on average, is at 17 times. 17, you're paying 17 times more for the stock than you are than the earnings that come in from that. But right now, the market is looking at a 28.9 CAPE ratio. 28.9 versus the typical average 17. So we're paying twice as much for the same stock. We're paying twice as much, which is not good. If you go into the grocery store and you're paying twice as much for the same thing, you know that you're being scammed. Now, with inflation, prices are going up, prices are changing, our dollars are losing value, but when you're pegging the income of a company to the price per share for that company, that's not an inflation problem. The inflated, the income, the earnings from that company are getting inflated just like the price is inflating, so it should stay the same. What it means is the U.S. stock market is painting a rosier picture for the future than it ever has before. And that's concerning, because we're not living in a time where the stock market should be pricing in flowers and wonderful peacetime euphoria going forward. In fact, we just had President Trump come out, and he said, when asked, they were asking him questions at the press conference about whether tariffs were going to make prices go up, which they're trying to get him to admit that tariffs were going to cause prices to rise on things. And he stayed on script. But what he was saying was, tariffs will make America rich. So that's not him saying that tariffs will get us to a point where we can negotiate for good trade deals that will make us rich. He's saying tariffs will make us rich. This isn't a guy who's using tariffs in order to get what he wants or what we want. He's using tariffs because tariffs are good. Now, you go around the world and you look at other countries, everyone else out there seems to be using tariffs to get rich. They use tariffs in order to protect their economy, to prosper their economy. So is it really that far of a stretch? Now, most of the market is pricing in.
But see, tariffs could have made them rich if they had leverage, but they don't have leverage. You don't have any leverage, bro. You don't have no leverage. Okay, you have a weakening dollar. You don't manufacture anything. You have no leverage to even play ball with anybody. So it's just like you're not a threat. Only thing you're gonna do is take people over militarily because you spend 80% of your budget on military and war. Okay, this is why they call America the war machine. That's scripture, you know. But anyway, reading on, and it says here, "O my people, hear my word and make you ready to thy battle, and then those evils be even as pilgrims upon the earth." So when shit hits the fan, we're not gonna be able to just be staying dormant. You know, you're not gonna be able to just hide out in your bedroom and let this thing blow over. No, because there's gonna be chaos everywhere. Okay, doors are gonna be get kicked in. People are gonna go house to house, searching for food and belongings that they don't have. All right, and they suspect that you have these things, and they're gonna overtake you. Okay, so all these guys talking about prepping, like he's a prepper, I believe. All this prepping stuff is gonna put a big old target on your back, because for the simple fact you're selling this merchandise, you better believe somebody has your IP address, somebody knows where you live, and somebody's watching you. Okay, the minute you get that 20 or that 40-pound bag of rice and those shotgun shells and, you know, that dried deer meat that you Edomites like, or that frozen deer meat, you better believe that people are keeping tabs on you. And the crazy part about it is that a lot of you are going to turn on each other, because in a time of all hell breaking loose, ain't no honor among thieves, especially not in a world like this. Definitely not here in America. All right. And it says here, "He that selleth, let him be as he that fleeth away." Yeah, you know, your salesmen, your businessmen, your stock market investors, hell, jobs. They're talking about mass layoffs coming. Like, hell, none of us may have a job by the end of the year, depending on how this thing go. But you know what? It is what it is. We're not invested in this shit anyway, so it is what it is. You know, because we want the kingdom of heaven, and we can't wait. You know, out of all the wickedness going on in this society, man, hey, we pray for this shit to happen. All right, because you people, it's time for you to get your judgment. It's time for you to get your just due now, because you've been totally disrespectful to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai and his men for far too long without any remedy. So it's about time you people start to get jacked up. But it says, "He that selleth, let him be as one that fleeth away, and he that buyeth as one that will lose." And the thing is, when we say this stuff, people don't take it serious, because it seems like what we say have no weight. But honestly speaking, what we're speaking is causing the world to turn, man. Things are happening because we're speaking his word. Prophecy is causing the tables to turn. And you have his men out here speaking. We're not just out there wasting our breath because it looks cute. Because it's not. But what we say actually comes with a purpose. And there's a judgment behind what we say. And you people are going to feel that soon, man. And it says, "And he that occupied merchandise as he that should not profit by it, and he that builded as he that should not dwell therein." So all these houses, all these businesses they building up, especially here in the KC area, because, you know, they got a couple of Super Bowls under their belt. So they got a lot of incentives that was brought to Kansas City, to the point they're over budgeting, they're overspending. I mean, not over budgeting, but they're overspending to build up these so-called luxury high rises and finish a streetcar that they spend like, I think it was like what, fucking 14 billion. I don't know if it was a couple of billion. It's pretty expensive though, but they've been working on this streetcar bullshit. I think they start paying the ground on it back in 2021 maybe. And they supposed to be done with it this year, but it's stupid though, because I mean, there's no room out here. The streets are too congested. all the places to park on the side of the street have been replaced with bike lanes. So you literally have maybe 8 foot of road that you can drive on for real. And that's on both sides. So it's just like, what are you doing? And then you're building up these luxury apartments on the riverfront, which that's not even a real scenery, but yet they're charging an arm and leg for that. Then you put a fucking women's soccer stadium. Like, who gives a fuck? Like, you're just throwing away money at this point. And then the crazy part, they're pricing people out that have been native to this city 40, 50, 60, 70 years, and now people are being priced out because they can't afford the rents. So this is how your beloved society repays you people, man, that put your hard-earned tax dollars into, and you ain't rise up yet? Wow. But it says, he that occupied merchandise as he that would not profit by it, and he that builded as he that should not do other end, and he that soweth as if he should not reap. So also he that planted the vineyard as he that should not gather the grapes, right? So there's not going to be any work for Egypt sooner than later. This is why mass layouts, when you go on TikTok, it ain't nothing but a bunch of people complaining about, oh, we have no jobs, what I'm going to do, you know, no skills. Only thing they know how to do is do gig work and sit in front of a phone and do some crazy dance and put it on the internet. You know, that's as far as the American person's talent goes. And then there are thousands of dollars in credit card debt, thousands of dollars in student loan debt that they have to pay back. Everybody owes taxes to the point people ain't even filing taxes anymore. You know what I'm saying? They're like, fuck this shit. Because people, they don't give a fuck no more, man. And that's what Esau is banking on. And it says here, and they that marry as though they should get no children, and they that marry not as the widowers. And if you still getting married in 2025, then something is seriously wrong with you, man, especially to these women. Any guy that's getting married to these women in 2025, like traditional marriage, then something is, that guy ain't wrapped too tight. You know, well, I have to honor her by putting a ring on this bitch's finger. You out your goddamn mind. Think I'm finna get a traditional marriage with a woman in this society that's been with fucking 40, 50 men before you, that turned this bride every which way, and you coming in and you being sloppy 31st. Like, nigga, you ain't winning, bro. You just set yourself up for failure. But anyway, it says, and therefore they that labor in vain. It says, for strangers should reap their fruits and spoil their goods and overthrow their houses and take their children captives. And captivity and famine should they get children, you know, because famine, pestilence, world war, we're in the verge of all these things. And just remember, we just had a blood moon Passover evening, or at least the second, or like the next night of the Passover. And then prior to that, we had a total solar eclipse last year around this time. So Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua is definitely making moves in the earth, man. And this shit gonna come hitting home real soon. All right, James 5:1. It says, go to now, you rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that should come upon you. This your Warren Buffetts, your Jeff Bezos, your Mark Zuckerbergs, your Elon Musk, your Donald Trumps. You know, and ultimately starting with your illuminary structure, your top elites, your Rothschilds, your Rockefellers, your Lees, your DuPont, your Schiffs, all those men that's worth trillions of dollars, man. Like Warren Buffett, $186 billion. He's broke, man. You know what I'm saying? That ain't no money. He ain't even in $1 trillion mark. Well, after this cash out, he's probably close to 500 billion. I wouldn't doubt. But your elites, Rothschilds, worth 500-some trillion dollars, man. All right, they'll write Bill Gates out with one fucking paycheck. That won't even put a dent in their pockets. And the crazy part about it is they got the money to bail this place out and make everything go back right. But he's such a devil. He's such an unrighteous demon to the point he won't even bail his own people out. And this is why the average Edomite is losing their mind, because they got to work a 9 to 5. And in most cases, Jakes are doing better than Edomites, man. So make that make sense. But it says your riches are corrupted and your garments are moth-eaten. Your gold and silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you, and it shall eat your flesh as of a fire, because ye have heaped treasures together for the last days. Yep, the gold, the silver. Like I did this. I looked up the price of. Get your ugly ass off my screen, man. I did this. The price of gold by MX. Current price of an ounce of silver. Like back in the day, you can literally have a silver certificate. Now she got one. It was a silver certificate. It was basically, it looks like $1, but it was the original concept of a dollar, which actually was real money. And you take that one certificate and you get 1 ounce of gold. Now it takes $30 and then some to get an ounce of gold. I mean, an ounce of silver, Salakia. An ounce of silver, you know, because now the price of silver is roughly $31 for an ounce. But silver used to be $25 an ounce, man. But why does it take $25 to $30 to purchase an ounce of silver when prior to the dollar being taken off the gold standard, you can take the Federal Reserve certificate and present it to the banker and they would give you an ounce of gold. I mean, an ounce of silver. Why I keep saying gold? Same thing with gold too, you know. But gold right now is $3,238.62. And it's fluctuating, man. And that's going up. You know why? Because the markets are getting ready to collapse. When they raise the price of gold, that means that shit is getting ready to hit the fan. All right. It says, yes, according to multiple sources, analysts predict that silver could reach $50 an ounce by the end of 2025 and even higher in the coming years. It says this prediction is based on factors like increasing industrial demand and the potential for inflation and overall economic instability because the dollar is losing purchasing power. So, yeah, man, you people better get your precious metals, even though this ain't going to do a goddamn thing, because who the hell going to be trading precious metals when you got chaos in the streets? Okay, once the grocery stores and the markets run dry and everybody is pretty much hoarding shit to themselves, you can't go and offer somebody silver and gold for what they got. And then some people may take it because, you know, in their mindset, well, we going to bounce back. But when it's said and done, silver and gold ain't going to mean nothing, man. You know? And plus, they going to take that and you going to build our roads with it. But it says here, behold, the hire of the laborers who reap down your fields, which is of you kept back by fraud, crieth, and the cries of them which have reaped are entered into the ears of the Lord of Sabaoth, which is the Lord of armies. It says, ye have lived in pleasure on the earth, and have been one time, and ye have nourished your hearts as in the day of slaughter. It says, ye have condemned and killed the just, and he does not resist you, man. This goes into the Title 4Ds, the taxes, all this shit, man. It's all fraud. And this is why they're reaping the benefit they're reaping now. All right? And it's going to be bad, to say the least. Go ahead, Isaiah 19. And I ended after this. Isaiah 19, and I'm going to start at verses 3. And it says, and the spirit of Egypt shall fell in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counsel thereof, and they shall seek to the idols, and to the charmers, and to them that have familiar spirits and wizards. And the Egyptians I will give over into the hand of a cruel lord, and a fierce king shall rule over them, says the Lord of hosts. And the water shall fail from sea to sea, and the rivers should be wasted and dried up, and they should turn the rivers far away, and the brooks of the fence should be empty and dried up, and the reeds and flags shall wither. All right, because your economy is going to go to, it's just going to shut down. You're going to mom and pop shops, the retail, hell, they said that you have 30% of retail space available in these downtown cities like Chicago, Michigan Avenue. I mean, well, State Street was pretty much booming back in the 2000s. Hell, 2010 and prior to that, hey, State Street was a poor man's land, you know, because I mean, you got your Targets, you got your Marshall Field, your Macy's, you know, you had your Marshalls, you had your Foot Lockers, your Lids, you know, your common stores that everybody like to shop. You got your Walnut Rooms, you know, you got your restaurants down there. You go down there, you know, you can get some bang for your buck back in the day. But now a lot of that stuff is being closed up. You know, now you can still go down Michigan Avenue and go into some of those Nike stores and, you know, the Water Tower and get some things. But things are high as hell. Nobody's really spending money like that. But verse 14, it says, for the Lord have mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof, and they have caused Egypt to earn every work thereof, as a drunken man staggered in his vomit. Neither should there be any work for Egypt, which the head or tail or branch or rush may do. And in that day Egypt should be like unto women, and should be afraid and fear because of the shaking of the hand of the Lord of hosts, which he shaketh over it, man. All right. So anyway, with that, all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Lord's will, you are edified. To the next lesson. Shalom. And I'll put this in the description.